Hi, hello everybody, I'm Justin, this is Koopa, and welcome to Koopa's Corner. Today we're going to talk about WWE's Saturday Night Main Event. Saturday Night's Main Event is coming up just this weekend, November the 1st. Should be, in theory, I actually haven't double checked, but it should be on Peacock because it is not technically formally a PLE. So it should still be on Peacock. They are advertising 4 matches. Saturday night's main events tend to, have a little bit more advertisement. It typically also aired on NBC, not just streaming, if you still happen to have, cable. And so they're advertising 4 matches. It's typically about 2 hours. It's kind of like an episode of SmackDown, but it's just fancy with a lot more ads. And so let's talk about the match card. Let's break them down. Let's do a preview and predictions for Saturday night's main event. First up, I want to talk about CM Punk versus main event Jey Uso. This is for the vacated World Heavyweight Championship. And, this is very haphazardly thrown together. There's not much of a story here at play. It's all because Seth Rollins was injured at Crown Jewel when he was facing Cody Rhodes. He's going to be out for some time. And Jey Uso won a Battle Royal, and he did so by eliminating Jimmy. He's been sort of teasing his heel turn. And, it's one of the most disliked videos on YouTube in WWE history, right? People are not super on board with Jey Uso. I've been pretty vocally not a fan for a long time. A lot of respect, obviously. I'm not in there doing that with my body. So anyone who puts their body on the line like that to entertain us, there's a bit of respect. But that doesn't mean you have to like them, right? It doesn't mean you have to like every character that's presented on your TV, and I'm not a big fan of Jey Uso's character. I'm just not, right? And I've been pretty vocal about that before. So I think people are starting to come around to it. His World Championship run was kind of a disaster. His winning the Royal Rumble is going to go down as one of the worst Royal Rumble winners of all time. And he's failed to live up to the hype. He can't go in the ring as well as he needs to be that top guy. I think he's a great character in a tag team with his brother. I think the Usos are a great character. I think as part of the bloodline, he's a great character. I don't think he's like a main event guy. I'd rather see LA Knight ascend to that. I'd rather see Dom ascend to that. I'd rather see Ron Breaker or Bronson Reed ascend to that level. Just not Jey Uso. Like, little kids enjoy his entrance. That's it. That's all he's got going for him. And it really, really stood out to me personally on this past episode of Monday Night Raw. As the WWE tries to create a story here, to give this match, a little bit of heat. It's for the world title, right? CM Punk came out to the ring opening Raw, and Jey Uso was out, and CM Punk came out to talk to Jey, and he talked about how they're friends. He's got nothing against him, but he needs this championship the way he needs air to breathe, and he tried to, tee up a nice, easy little pitch for Jey Uso, and instead of, giving us a promo about how he's, how he needs this more or anything like that, he just told Punk to shut up. It's worse than, a grade school comeback. It's worse than I know you are, but what am I? Like, I'm going to win because I'm the best, and I need this. I need this victory. I need this championship. Shut up. And it's just one more example of, like, Jey Uso shit in the bed. I wish I could very confidently say this is going to be a Punk victory. You never know with the WWE, especially if they want to go full heel with Jey Uso. They could put the title back on him and try it that way, and then thered be a reason for him and Roman to sort of butt heads a little bit more. So it's not out of the question that he could win. Like, I don't want to say it's like definitive, but I do think there is more upside to Punk winning, and I do think that it's going to be better for the product long term. And fans have been waiting for Punk to get the championship back, since he's come back, right? And he's been stuck in a couple of different feuds since then. So put the title on him. Let him carry it to WrestleMania. He can drop it at Mania, right? He can have a good, 6 months with the title at this point. Why not? I think it makes the most sense. He can drop it to like Braun Breaker or somebody. Put somebody over, the future of the business over. At a big stage like WrestleMania. I think Braun Breaker is a great contender to win the Royal Rumble. I think Sami Zayn's a great contender to win the Royal Rumble. So there are a couple opportunities here. You could have a really good feud with CM Punk, and I'd much rather see either of them face CM Punk than Jey Uso. So, yeah, that's the first match. But yeah, I'm going with CM Punk. Maybe that's not all 100% logic being used. Maybe part of that is just my own personal desires, but I do think that there's a lot more upside. So, all right, let's move on to the next match. Next matchup is a triple threat match. It's going to be for the Intercontinental Championship. Dirty Dom versus PENTA versus Rusev. And Dom's been kind of having a little kind of side feud with both of these guys. He's also been kind of, sort of trying to take charge of the Judgment Day. There's some story going on there as well. Dom's got his hands in a couple different cookie jars here, at least, if not a lot, but at least a couple different ones. And it all came to a head this past Monday on Raw when there was not a triple threat, but there was a number one contenders match for the Intercontinental Championship between PENTA and Rusev. And when the rest of the Judgment Day refused to get involved, right, because Dom had cost them the tag titles, Dom grabbed his phone and he made a quick little call, said, "I need your help. Who should show up but El Grande Americano?" And his two, the tag team of not Grande, but the other two guys. I forgot what we're calling them. Anyway, that story is sort of not gone the way I expected it to, because it started off really hot, and I don't think it's quite gone the way I expected it to. Anyway, this is a triple threat match. There's no disqualification, so I expect more interference from El Grande Americano. Maybe the Judgment Day. Maybe it was all just an act to, they're going to have Dom's back still. I don't really think we're going to see a full split with the Judgment Day till Liv Morgan comes back. And even then, we've already had like 3 or 4 different iterations of the Judgment Day, and there's no original members left in the group, so would not be surprised at all if it just morphed and took on a life of its own in a different way, or we could see the dissolution of the group altogether. But either way, I don't expect any of that till Liv Morgan returns. So there's a chance that Finn Balor and JD McDonough get involved. No disqualifications, triple threat match. They help Dirty Dom retain. Penta came in, super popular, but he's really struggled to gain momentum. Rusev, he came back, and no one really seemed to care that he came back. But he's been booked pretty strongly. There's obviously a possibility either of those two walk away with the title, but right now Dom's on fire. I don't see really any good reason to take the title off of him. So I think Dominic Mysterio is going to win, and because it's a triple threat match, he can do so in a really dirty, underhanded way with lots of interference and very unsatisfying. But why not, right? Next up is another match that, again, really kind of came to fruition very late, very last minute, right? Last SmackDown, this seemed to have been thrown together. This is Tiffany Stratton defending her WWE Women's Championship against Jade Cargill. Jade came out and saved Tiffy from a beatdown at the hands of Kiana James and United States champion Julia, and then turned on Tiffany. And this is the heel turn I think I've been waiting for. A lot of people have been waiting for. When Jade Cargill first came in, we expected this. We expected a heel Jade Cargill because she just looks and feels more like a heel. And she sat in that tag team with Bianca forever, and then we didn't even get a good payoff for that because they threw her up against Naomi instead of up against Bianca. You know, so this heel turn's long overdue. I don't think that they really executed it that well. It felt very last minute. Like, it felt like, how do we keep these people feuding? Tiffany Stratton, when she won the title, a lot of people were super hype about it. But since then, she's like fought Nia, fought Bayley, fought Charlotte, fought Nia, fought Jade, fought Nia, fought Jade again. Like, she's been kind of just spinning her wheels, and it's not her fault. She's really doing the best she can with what she's given, but she isn't really being given all that much, right? That is unfortunate. We could see her retain here if they want to keep this feud going a little bit longer. We also could see a title change here. Wouldn't be shocked either way. Again, this feels like the story kind of came together at the last second, so it's hard to really predict the story beats because it really hasn't been going for long. If Jade turns heel and then just gets her ass whooped, though, like that, she's going to kill any heat she's got. So I think there's probably more upside to putting the title on Jade. Tiffany's held the title most of the year, and I think it's a real possibility here. I'm going to predict Jade Cargill wins the title. And Tiffany can then, now that she's kind of a babyface, she can kind of go back to the chase. And this feud doesn't have to end, but, it can change dynamics. And that might, breathe a little life into it. So, prediction, Jade Cargill. And then last up, guys, we have the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. And again, this story kind of came together very late, very last minute. It's very uncharacteristic for the WWE to really put as little effort into building a card as they did this particular Saturday night's main event. Right? But Drew McIntyre was supposed to be facing Jacob Fatu in a number one contenders match, and Jacob Fatu is injured. He's dealing with some stuff outside of the WWE, and so they wrote him off. They showed him attacked backstage, and Drew McIntyre just got himself declared number one contender, and him and Cody have had a couple of verbal back and forths, but there was a brawl at one point, and Cody was the aggressor. I've said this consistently, but Cody comes across as a heel more than he comes across as a babyface. The only reason he's a babyface is because they treat him like a babyface, because they tell us he's a babyface. But it's not because of his actions or his words. Like, he acts like a heel. And being the aggressor against Drew McIntyre, very heel move. Yeah, not overly fond of Cody. But I'm a huge Drew McIntyre fan. Honestly, I think Drew McIntyre is the unsung hero of the WWE. He carried the company on his back through COVID. He constantly goes up and down the card, slots into whatever feud they want him to go into, and he really just gives it his all. He takes those feuds. He knows how to make something special out of them, and he's just fires on all cylinders at all times. I mean, he is such a consistently great performer, and I think he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats, not just one of the greats of this era. Right, and I would love to see a surprising Drew McIntyre victory here. I would love to. I'm going to be cheering for Drew the entire time. I think that it could really freshen up the title picture. But Cody Rhodes has been largely protected since finishing his story and defeating Roman Reigns. He's really only lost to John Cena, right? John Cena held the title for a little while, and then he lost to Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel, only for Seth to not be able to capitalize on it because he got hurt. right? So it was very unfortunate. But I would love to have seen that loss sort of get in his head a little bit more, and be a bigger part of this story. And it still could be, in theory, right? He loses to Seth, and then Drew takes the title from him, and then Drew's in his head. Like, you just don't have it anymore. You peaked against Roman 2 years ago. You know, something like that. Unfortunately, I do think that puts Cody as a possibility to win the Rumble as well if he loses the title. And I'd hate to see a three-peat. The first ever person for a three-peat, right? Not the first ever person to win 3, but the first ever to win 3 in a row if they give it to him. Hope they don't. Really hope they don't. Actually, he didn't win 3 in a row because Jey Uso won this year. He won the 2 before that. So he'd be tying Steve Austin then. He'd be copying Steve Austin. Won 2, took a year off, win the 3rd. So that's also, you know, it feels like Triple H wants Cody to be the guy, and that feels like something he would do. So that's the one downside to Drew winning, in my opinion. I really would rather see somebody like Sami Zayn, or Dominic Mysterio, or Braun Breaker win the Rumble. I think all 3 of those guys would be better suited for it, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. This match is, in my opinion, probably the hardest to predict of the night, but I am going to go Cody Rhodes. It just doesn't feel like they would bother to take it off of him on an event like this, you know. As much as I want it to be Drew, as much as I'm going to be rooting for Drew. It's hard to bet against Cody sometimes. And that's Saturday night's main event, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What match are you looking forward to most? Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.